Hello, I'm Mitch Fox, president of the Nevada Broadcasters Association, and I'd like to welcome you to another edition of Nevada on the Air, a program that highlights the leaders and innovators and out-of-the-box thinkers who are making a big difference in communities throughout Nevada. I'm excited to have Henderson Mayor DEBRA March on the program today, and before we begin, I'd like to give her a proper introduction. DEBRA was elected mayor of Henderson in April of 2017 and assumed office in June of that year. Prior to that, she was a city councilwoman starting in 2009. She's been a Nevada resident for more than 40 years. She graduated from UNLV. And then I love this part of her bio. She served as a Nevada Park Ranger in various locations throughout the Silver State. We're going to talk about all that and much more. Mayor March, welcome.
Thank you for having me. What a delight to be here with you, Mitch.
It's good to see you once again. So we have so much to talk about. We do have a limited period of time, but let's talk about some of the things that are going on in the city of Henderson. The first thing I noticed was the Southwest Alliance for Excellence.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
You know, Henderson just received the Pinnacle Award, which is the top award for this regional body, the Southwest Alliance for Excellence. And Southwest Alliance for Excellence actually is a subset, if you will, of the Malcolm Baldrige Award. So Henderson received this highest acknowledgement, and now we're permitted to go forward and pursue the Malcolm Baldrige Award. And it's basically about quality management and using data to measure your performance and to have all of the folks working together to achieve specific goals in the city. And Henderson is really a remarkably well-run city, and I'm so proud to be mayor of that city.
Well, it's sort of synonymous with quality of life. You'll frequently hear that, and Henderson residents are very proud that they live in the city of Henderson. Let's go over a few of these things. You were a park ranger, and I think the city really is known for its parks.
Yes, we actually have 68 parks in the city of Henderson and 220 miles of trails. And our goal is to have a park or a trail within a 10-minute walk of all residents in our community, and we're already at 2/3 of that goal. So our commitment is to actually have more parks and trails and to engage our residents and have an outdoor experience and to be healthy, that the goal would be then that they would be healthy because they're outside.
Well, I have to tell you a story. My wife and I got e-bikes, and we found about the Harry Reid Trail that starts, I think, around Pecos or something like that, and it goes way, way down. We stopped at Gibson, but it goes further than that, doesn't it?
You can connect with the River Mountain Loop Trail, and you can actually go all the way to Boulder City through the connections.
I think, personally, I'm going to opine a little bit. I think Southern Nevada needs more bike lanes and bike trails, I think. It's kind of lacking, but the city of Henderson has a fair share.
We do, 220 miles of trails. And one of our goals, actually, and we've committed to and received a $40 million grant from Department of Transportation in Washington, was to do a redesign of the Boulder Highway. So we're going to be looking at center running transit. We're going to have 2 lanes of traffic and then a separated and protected bike lane on each side so folks can get out and connect and ride bikes and feel safe.
Well, let's talk about various areas of the city. You talked about the Boulder Highway, and you know, there's some people that sort of categorize Boulder Highway as been in sections, kind of a depressed area of the city. What's going on there to revitalize that area?
You know, we've actually adopted the plan, Reimagine Boulder Highway, and as I said, we received from Pete Buttigieg. He brought in a $40 million grant to Southern Nevada and to Henderson, and so we're going to start the redesign, and we now have buy-in from Clark County and also the city of Las Vegas to extend it all the way up north to the city of Las Vegas. So it'll start at the Boulder Highway, or the Boulder City essentially line, and bring them all the way up to the city of Henderson, through the city of Henderson, and then eventually connect to Clark County and the city of Las Vegas. But again, it'll have center running transit, it'll have the 2 lanes of traffic, and then the separated bike lane. And this will also privatize some of the Department of Transportation land on either side, which may be an opportunity for some workforce housing in our community as well.
You know, you go to Water Street into downtown Henderson, and it's nothing like it was years ago. It's just phenomenal. Did you sort of see the potential there a while back?
Well, you know, I think there's been a long-term plan for that, but I think it almost needed a project that would trigger that investment in our community. And I think when we put in the lifeguard arena, that seemed to have a catalyst effect on other projects coming into the Henderson area, into the downtown Henderson area. But I know when I joined the city council in 2009, I would hear from folks because one of my priorities was to redevelop redevelop downtown. And I would hear from folks, oh, you can't do that. It just won't work. And we've tried it. It won't work. Well, look at downtown now. I mean, we have new restaurants. We have new residential development. We actually have the Watermark property that's being built across the street from Lifeguard Arena, and it's got, I think, over 220 residential units, and it's exciting to see the traffic and the energy that's happening down there. And we're going to see, I think, a lot more people walking around and visiting the various restaurants and the hockey arena and things like that as well.
As you know, my credit union, Silver State Schools Credit Union, is down there.
It is.
And,
that's my credit union too.
It is. I hear when you visit the branch, actually. There's some people that are a little bit cautious, on the cautious side, with the development going on because of the water. The water issue, it's so prevalent here, and it's kind of staring us in the face. All you have to do is just go down to Lake Mead. So is there a balance between residential development? Are you putting maybe a greater emphasis on industrial and development? How do you balance all that?
Yeah, and I think that's a very good question. You know, what folks don't realize is that Southern Nevada only uses about 1.9% of the water that's in the Colorado River. So we have partnerships with all of the other states along the Colorado River to the north and to the south. So we all need to be investing in solutions. Now, as far as Southern Nevada goes, we actually have what's called return flow credits. So I know in Henderson we're using the same amount of water today that we were 20 years ago, and it's because we're able to do the return flow credit, and we're seeing more water conservation efforts. Probably the biggest water waster is outdoor use of water, because if you have something in the system and it's the closed system and you flush or run the sink, that water goes back into the system, is cleaned, and then we're able to reuse that water. So our consumption is actually quite low, but I think we have to look at how we use water in the outdoors. And I know we've removed over 7 million acres, 7 million square feet of turf in Southern Nevada and in Henderson in our community to reduce that water consumption, because it's that outdoor use of water that's a problem.
You folks have also put an emphasis on education. Some people say, well, how could a municipal government get involved in education? But you found a way to do that. Yeah,
you know, we actually have recognized how the education of our children is really critical to our future, and that if we want to be a diverse, vibrant community, we have to take care of and look after our children. So we have actually taken a third of the money from the cannabis sales in Henderson, the tax revenue that comes in, and also the redevelopment set-aside money, and we've dedicated that money to education of our children. So we've put that into programming in schools, whether it's the HOPE Squad, that's the suicide prevention program, or there's different programs, like we provided Chromebooks and technology during the COVID shutdown, so we were able to help make sure that these children stayed linked to the school system. And so we work closely with our schools and with our teachers and principals to make sure that we're giving them the resources that they need so that their children will be successful.
Now, you are running for Lieutenant Governor.
Yes.
That is, that's a big step up. It's a statewide office. It's a second in command, so to speak. How do you see the duties of the Lieutenant Governor, and looking at your own resume, how do you think you fit into what is expected of the Lieutenant Governor of the state of Nevada?
You know, I think actually what I've done in Henderson is what I'd like to do for the rest of the state, and I believe that leadership and experience do matter and that it is critical. And I've proven in Henderson not only that I have been a good leader in our community and that I've been fiscally responsible, but also economic development and diversification is an important part of the role of the Lieutenant Governor, and that's something I've done very well, whether it's bringing companies like Haas Automation that's bringing in 2,500 jobs at $60,000 a year or better, Google, who's brought 250 jobs at $65,000 a year or better. I've been working really hard to bring in good paying jobs that provide benefits. But some of the other roles and responsibilities of the Lieutenant Governor include tourism, outdoor recreation, transportation. Actually, the Lieutenant Governor sits as Vice Chair of the Transportation Board. I chair the Regional Transportation Commission for Southern Nevada and have for 2 years, and was Vice Chair for 10 years before that. So I've been very engaged in transportation solutions in our community. And I know as a planner and as a community planner how important transportation is as a foundation to good development and design of communities.
And you've known this because you've been in elected office for a number of years. it's all about the people you represent, right? And in traveling throughout the state of Nevada, other parts of Nevada, sometimes it's humorous because you'll find people living in Tonopah or Ely, and it's almost like a different world from the Washoe County or Clark County. What have you found? What have you discovered? What are the people telling you?
Well, first I'd like to just share a little bit about my background and how that would relate to that. I started my career as a park ranger, and so I lived in Southern Nevada and was at Red Rock Canyon, then went to Lake Tahoe, so I was at Sand Harbor at Lake Tahoe for 2.5 years. And then I went to Ely, Nevada, and I became a social worker, and I ran the state welfare for 5 rural counties, Lincoln, Eureka, White Pine, Nye, and Lander counties. So I've lived all over the state of Nevada, so I have a true appreciation for the uniqueness of this state and how rural Nevada has things that are truly unique to them, likewise Northern Nevada and Southern Nevada. And I think that I believe that I know that I'm uniquely qualified to be able to serve in a role where I can help understand and make those linkages and bring the important resources that each of these areas of our state require.
Now, as you said, you've had the little caravans and you've traveled in all these various cities. You know them like the back of your hand, apparently, because you lived in Ely. What are the people telling you?
You know, what they're telling me is that they want to be heard and that they want their concerns to be addressed, whether it's around affordable housing, and that's a statewide issue. As I traveled around the state, that's definitely a statewide issue. I think there's issues around climate, especially in Northern Nevada with the fires that they've had. And so understanding what each part of the state, what's important to them, and then bringing those discussions to the table and engaging in solutions to help them to achieve their goals as well.
One last question, that has to do with the polarized political climate. Whether you're a Democrat or Republican, it's tough to ignore. And it just seems like people have a difficult time coming together. Even this horrific shooting that we just witnessed, and not firsthand, of course, through news accounts. There's so many issues that divide us. Is there something that you can do in your position as Lieutenant Governor to maybe encourage consensus?
You know, I think I have a proven track record as the mayor of the second largest city in the state of Nevada with a population of 350,000, a very diverse population, of bringing people together to find solutions and to build a brighter future for all our residents. And that would be my commitment as Lieutenant Governor, is to really listen and participate and lean in and encourage others to participate and encourage civil dialogue so that we can find solutions to build that brighter future for all of our residents.
Mayor March, I want to thank you for joining us. It's been a delight.
Thank you very much. What a pleasure to be here, Mitch.
And thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.